Welcome to the Recruiter Startup Podcast. Dilta Doherty here, and it's Saturday afternoon and the kids are sleeping. I think I've got 10 minutes left before our youngest wakes up and demands my attention. And, you know, I have a busy life between running my own business and two little babies and our dog and all the other stuff that comes with that. And I just wanted to talk today about burnout and how to avoid it, or at least how to manage it. I probably hit burnout a few times most years, but I'm trying to get better at managing that now. And I thought I'd just share a couple of things that we've done in our life, in our diet, and in our business to mitigate the drama that comes with burnout. And usually, you know, a deal's fallen through, a client has just been impossible, or a candidate has let you down, and you're hungover, or it's everything. You're not feeling well, and everything comes at once when you burn out, and it affects mental health, it affects your motivation, and it's really tough to manage. So this last year I got a bit better at it, and I think when you get into your 30s, you just get a bit better at living. And when you have kids, you just have to manage your time. You can't get the sleep to recover that you used to be able to. So last year I did 5 months sober across 2 stints, and I found it dramatically changed the way I thought and my perception on things and my mental health. I didn't even understand what mental health was probably before I did do a bit of a sober stint. Luckily, I'm quite a balanced person. I'm sure there's people out there who really struggle with this type of thing. But I found drinking probably slows me down more than anything else. And I didn't realise that I was drinking to relax. I was drinking to celebrate. I was drinking to blow off steam when things went wrong. So it culminates in drinking quite a lot. And being Irish and that being part of the culture, you know, it's definitely something. So last year was great. I really got a buzz from that. So I decided to give it another crack. And I haven't had a drink since Christmas Day, and I don't know how long I'm going to go for, but I'm really enjoying it so far. My head is working better, and you know, I'm just more positive, and I'm sure I'm easier to be around, and it's something that I'd really advocate people giving a try once in a while. Now, we have a trip booked for New York. We're going over to cut a load of content, meet clients of ours, candidates, different people that we know in the recruitment industry, and we're going to be cutting live podcasts and all this good stuff, launching a YouTube channel, and that's going to be tough. Not to want to go out, meet a few mates of mine who are over there, meet a few clients, a few people that we've placed, get on the beer, play some pool, figure out where the best dive bars are, relive what it was like for when I went over there when I was 21 and when we went over there at about 29. And oh yeah, that's tempting. But it's only a 3-day trip, and I think we'll get through it. So, okay, the drinking thing's a big one for avoiding burnout, because you're less likely to get sick. I find that I train a bit more, but Joe Rogan has a great podcast on what he does in a week, and I've tried to use some of the things that he's a proponent on. So he's big on diet, and I try and watch diet every now and then. Not like Joe Rogan, unfortunately, but we're pretty good compared to what we were when we were working in agencies and having lots of takeaways and didn't have kids to worry about and that. So one of the things Joe Rogan says is plan out your week on a Sunday for your body. So I've taken his framework for that, and I get 3 personal training sessions. I go to boxing or Thai boxing, a bit of mountain biking, or maybe I get to indoor football on a Friday, and I try and get to a yoga class. And probably sounds like a lot, and I try and do a bit of running. But if you think of that I may break that up into, maybe I do a midday class or something before I start work, something in the evening, something at the weekend. You can kind of get 1 or 2 things done a day. And it brings out the best version of you throughout the day. And that'll come across in your content, in how you're speaking to candidates and clients, and really just how you behave transmits into every bit of your life. Now, the next bit then is how we avoid burnout with work. And that comes down to the team I have working for me. So Irina and Andrea have been with me for a couple of years now, and it's been a long process to get them up to a point where we're at now. But it's great, and I could bottle it and I could sell it to you all, and it would change all your life. So we would process map everything that we do in the business, and then anything that doesn't involve influence, we would give that to the girls to do. So that could be any administration task, and there's so many, and that would involve the coordination of interviews. Now, a lot of people say, I don't like that. That gives us an extra touch point with the client. Yes, it does, but the client's probably a bit bored of those touch points. You could book in a call to do proper consultative stuff. Your time should be valuable. Your client should appreciate that your time's valuable. And I just can't stress enough that we have 30 interviews to 50 interviews happening, different time zones, all over the world, different clients with different needs, giving different feedback. And I prefer the girls to do all the heavy lifting on that, so I don't have to deal with the rescheduling when things go wrong. And that has saved 30 to 40 hours of my working life. Now, Charlotte my wife, who was in the business with us, has had 2 kids in 2 years. She's coming back at the end of the month to project manage the next phase of the business. And it's going to be great to have new eyes on everything. But outside of that, our whole process is develop content, have a message solution across LinkedIn, study all the analytics on who's liking our posts, who's engaging, who could be up for a move abroad, and then we just have a whole solution on messaging them, and the girls do a lot of that heavy lifting. I don't do a tremendous amount of sourcing. So what that means for me is my day is I try and cut a podcast with a client, or with a thought leader, or with a recruiter, or just maybe I might have a bit of a chat like this. I'll then write some content. I'll study what's going viral out on LinkedIn. I'll apply my own thoughts to whatever it is, and then I'll have a process of getting that up. And like we had a post that went to 1.5 million last week, which is our best. But anything that can hit close to 20,000 is great. And then that forms part of the inbound solution. So we're in the news feed, people are seeing us, the girls are then reaching out, connecting, messaging again, and we have a whole process. And the ultimate aim is for Andrea and Irina to get me that golden call with the best recruiter in the market. Now, this process works in a candidate short market where you're not really working roles specifically. You'd have to adapt it to whatever works in your own market, and that's really easy to do. But specifically in the way that we do this, it means that I'm taking calls at the very bottom of the funnel, which means they're qualified, they look good, they're they're definitely placeable now or in a year's time or in 2 years' time. And that means that I'm not stuck calling endlessly through people, hoping for a lead to come through. And you don't have to roll your eyes at this point. I know what it's like to do 100 calls a day. I've done it. I've been in the big agencies. I know it works, but every time I've done that, I've burnt out. And this has worked for me now for 4 years without much problems professionally. And the better we get at content and the better we get at engaging and knowing who to engage, the closer we're getting to it being a better solution than doing 100 calls a day. So the other stuff that I do is I'd have a couple of meetings with the girls based on, what they're up to, what profiles they're after. I've divided up their regions, so I help them with their content for that. And a lot of it is just making sure that they're being as engaging as possible and not just taking my instructions. And I find that as a challenge with virtual assistants. Now, the girls are kind of more recruiters at this stage, but they were trained in initially as virtual assistants. So it's different from somebody who is hired in a big agency and they kind of know how to roll with the punches, and they've got that I don't know, they can just have that bit between their teeth where they can seek out the right person. It's quite hard to train remote workers to do that. So I find I at least need to be on them once a day, discussing that, working out the best way forward for them and making sure they're using their time and their personality the right way. And when Charlotte comes back, we'll tighten that all up and it'll run perfectly. So the big piece though is when we do get that call and we are like, I've created the action plan for the candidate. We're absolutely like, this guy, we have all the clients. We have all the clients in about 7 regions. They're all signed up. We know them all. We're cutting content with them all the time. So that's not a worry. So we know if we get the right person, we can give them the right opportunity. And if not, I can introduce them to one of the 12 Rec Directs I have a relationship with in the UK that I'm very comfortable to go, okay, actually, I'm not the right person. Why don't you just go speak to your man up the road, that Rec Direct from Manchester? He's great. And then we'll introduce them to them. But when the candidate goes out to market, the coordination piece, if there's 30 to 50 interviews happening across multiple time zones, it's unbelievably hard when a candidate says, actually, do you know what, I've just got a job, I don't want to go now, or, oh, sorry to waste your time, I'm not going, or the client says, that role's not on anymore. It just means that there's a tremendous amount of coordination that happens. And because we have that out there, we have the girls doing that, it saves me 30 hours a week. And that doesn't mean that I'm pretending I'm Joe Rogan for 30 hours doing yoga classes. It means that I've got extra time to cut more content, which goes to more people, to manage the girls, to give the girls more to do, and to help Charlotte and her project management and to repurpose all that content and build communities and do all the stuff that we're going to be doing. And then that leads to more calls, to more candidates going out. And that there is how we avoid burnout while using an inbound solution. If you have any questions on that, hit me up. There's quite a lot in there, and it took us a long time to get to this point in our business. And by no means are we flying around in a private jet, but we've got a nice wee business and we've got a nice flow of work, and I've no real complaints on my day-to-day, how things work. You know, life's quite enjoyable to run a recruitment practice in this way. And look, if you want to come on the podcast, I've tons of guests lined up, but I'm trying to cut a podcast almost every day now. And if you're a search firm owner in the UK, I will be taking the podcast on the road. So we'll do a few series with a videographer in London, in Manchester, in Birmingham, and a few other spots, I suppose. I suppose Brighton would be the right one, seeing it's only down the road. We might go down and do something with Backdoor Barry, the recruiter's lawyer. So that is it from today. I hope you're all good. I'm going to have to go upstairs. I hear the child crying. I hope your Saturday's more fun than mine. Have a great rest of the weekend, and I hope you got value from this. If you have, hit me up. Tell me. I really appreciate the feedback.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.